Hey everybody, John here from No Joke NHL here with our daily report for March 14th, Thursday, and we have another full card going tonight, and so we have a couple plays going on. Not a lot of great matchups tonight. We have a few, but we have some teams that are shorthanded with injuries and things like that, suspensions, so we'll talk about all those. So without further ado, let's get into the card. So first game on the schedule, teams 1 and 2, Florida at Boston. Boston a prohibitive favorite here, minus 265. Comeback on Florida, plus 225. Florida in a tremendous funk. We talked about it in the last video. Just really can't put it together. Now they may have lost their best skater, Kevin Dineen. Versteeg. Kevin Dineen, the coach, they didn't lose him. Versteeg, they lost him with a knee injury, so he's not going to be playing tonight. Before you go crazy and think it's a free square for Boston in a money line parlay, Boston has been favored this heavily against Florida 3 times total, and they are 1 and 2 straight up against them. 2 and 1 straight up. They've only covered the puck line 1 time. At this heavy favorite price. So buyer beware. I mean, Boston may be a free square. They're definitely hungry after losing to Pittsburgh the other night. But, like I said, it's usually these, sure things or locks that come back and bite you. So for me, it's just too steep of a price to really go either way. Like I said, even at that price, I can't take Florida with the injury to Versteeg. Teams 3 and 4, Chicago at Columbus. I have Chicago at minus 170, comeback on Columbus plus 150. This opened at minus 165, and I put Chicago in a money line parlay along with Pittsburgh and St. Louis paying plus 370 as my play so far. And this is about where the line should be. If you go back in the line history between these two teams, Chicago at Columbus, about the same price. However, with the streak going on, 2 weeks ago we had Chicago at Columbus at minus 300, and they did win that game, but it was in overtime. And then they went back to Chicago, and they were minus 264 against them there. And like I said, both times they covered, but those lines were definitely out of whack. I rode Columbus on both of those actually, even though they both lost, because like I said, the line was ridiculous. So basically, the line is in half from what it was there, and that's about a square price. Chicago won the last 10 against Columbus, so that's certainly of note, and that's part of the reason why I put them in that money line parlay. I don't know about Chicago on the minus 1.5. They were plus 180 this morning. I'm assuming that's going to go down. People will just buy the minus 1.5 just because they don't feel like laying the juice. But Chicago's not really a viable option this year at minus 1.5. Certainly burned a lot of my money, and probably a lot of other people's as well. Teams 5 and 6, Pittsburgh at Toronto, and Pittsburgh and Toronto kind of play each other fairly tight. They play a lot of one-goal games against each other. So I was considering doing puck line both ways, but it's not really a good move here. Like I said, the history doesn't really show that that's what they're going to do. Although Pitt plays a high-flying style, so does Toronto, really. They play defense second as opposed to offense first. And, excuse me. And so I was going to lay 1.5 on both ways in this game, but I'm going to pass on that. I do have Pittsburgh in my money line parlay, and I do think Pittsburgh is the better team here. They should be able to get the victory, and that's what I'm pulling for. They're a relatively low price, minus 135, minus 140. I don't have any confirmations for goalies on these as of yet, so change accordingly if different goaltenders come in on any of these matchups, because I don't have the matchups at this time. Team 7 and 8, the second of the back-to-back, or home and home, I should say, between Washington and Carolina. Capitals beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-0 shutout on home ice. Then Carolina came back and paid them back with a 4-0 shellacking the other night. I really have no idea what's going to happen in tonight's game. I'm not sure if they're going to go with Peters, who has 2 perfect shutouts against Washington. And I really don't know what Washington team is going to show up. Carolina's playing better. Washington was playing better, but man, I really don't know what's going on with them right now. And This is a game they really need. If they lose back-to-backs to this home and home to Carolina, they can almost kiss their chances goodbye on taking the division. And there goes one of my future plays, the Capitals at plus 700 to win the Southeast Division. I got them right at the beginning where they started to play a little bit better, and Holtby found his own. But they certainly lost their way these last 3 games. Just not taking stupid penalties, not really getting some great. I mean, they've been getting some great chances. They just really haven't been converting, and so that's part of the reason why I really can't say one way or another what's going to happen here. Because this, like I said, this Capitals team really needs this game really bad. Of course, Carolina needs it as well to maintain their lead in the division. Teams 9 and 10, New York Islanders at Tampa Bay, and it's another game that I was going to look to do. Puck line both ways, but the history doesn't really support it. Tampa Bay, a short favorite, minus 120. Comeback on the Islanders is even. Tampa Bay on the puck line, a juicy plus 255. That's why I was interested in doing the puck line, both ways. Didn't matter who would win, just as long as it was a blowout. But I can't really trust either one of these here. Had Tampa Bay the other night, minus 1.5 at a nice 250 price. They were up 2-0, gave up 2 goals to tie the game, took a lead in the third with plenty of time, had an empty net. Steve Stamkos from about 10 feet away missed the empty net and cost us the puck line cover. Very frustrating in that type of situation. And so I'm a little off Tampa Bay right now. They could come out here and rip the Islanders. The Islanders could come out and beat them. So definitely the line makes sense as a toss-up. But like I said, it's not worth playing puck line both ways, so I'm just going to pass on this. New York Rangers at the Jets, teams 11 and 12. New York Rangers minus 115, come back on the Jets minus 105. Rangers, Tortorella the other night, basically, in the press conference said his team sucked, didn't play. We're not giving any credit to Buffalo. We sucked, and Buffalo didn't beat us. We lost. I'm not sure if that's going to motivate the Rangers or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I'm gonna, especially on the road, I'm gonna keep these Rangers at arm's length here. Definitely, really can't back the Jets. They're a team that shows up sometimes, doesn't show up sometimes, and so they're not a team that I really look to play, day in, day out at any time. 13-14 Colorado at Minnesota. The Avalanche plus 120, Minnesota minus 140. Minnesota on opening night beat the Colorado Avalanche 4-2, getting the puck line cover at plus 200. They're at plus 210 tonight. However, they're not really getting a lot of puck line covers as of late, so I'm not really going to take them on the puck line. I was looking at them long and hard, but Colorado, of course, got the win, broke Chicago's streak. Then they got another victory, but then they looked really bad against Edmonton. Edmonton came into Colorado, thumped them pretty good, and so I'm not really sure what Colorado team we get here tonight. They did play a second game, Colorado and Minnesota. Colorado winning that in an overtime. So again, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. Was looking at Minnie on the puck line, but I'm going to lay off that. Minnesota on the money line seems to make the most sense, but at minus 140, a little bit out of my league. I usually don't try to go minus 130 on the money line if I'm going to play that, but I certainly would understand if anybody did. 15-16 Phoenix at St. Louis. St. Louis a minus 140 favorite here. Comeback on Phoenix plus 120. St. Louis is a plus 210 on the puck line. I have them as part of my money line parlay with Pittsburgh and Chicago. I really like the St. Louis team, especially here at home. Phoenix the other night took care of Los Angeles 5-2. And so, coming on the road at St. Louis, like I said, a tough place to play. I'm not sure I can count on Phoenix to bring their A game per se. And so I'm looking at the Blues to take control of their destiny here. Ken Hitchcock's a great coach and prepares them well. They're dealing with a little bit of injuries. Their goaltending really has not been top-notch as compared to last year. Halak and Elliott, very stellar, top 2 goalies in the league. Certainly not the case this year. And Jake Allen has been getting some starts, and he was solid the other night. We had them to get the cover in I can't remember what it was the other night, but Jake Allen just got a victory in his last start, and he very well might get the start here against Phoenix. Like I said, I have him part of the Moneyline Parlay, and I'm going to have some of them at minus 1.5 plus 210. Very nice price. 17-18, we have the Ducks at the Dallas Stars. Stars thumped the other night 4-0 by Nashville. The Ducks taking care of business late at Minnesota in a game that I had Minnesota on the money line. Of course, Corey Perry cheap shot at one of the Wild, now now in a suspension, so he's not in tonight. Victor Fast, the goaltender, suffered an injury as well in the pregame warm-up before that game, and so he's not eligible tonight. So we're going to see Hiller for the Stars. Certainly been more than adequate, for the Ducks. He's certainly been more than adequate. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. This line is minus 110 both ways, pretty much a toss-up. Looks like maybe the money might go towards the Ducks simply because of their recent past as far as putting it together, and now threatening Chicago for the number 1 seed in the West, only 4 points behind them. But this is a game, like I said, they lose Perry, they don't have their goaltender Fast, so this is a game I'm probably going to look to fade them, but I can't really trust the Dallas Stars enough to really jump on them either. Minus 1.5 both ways doesn't make sense, so a pass for me on this game. 1920, Nashville at Vancouver. Like I said, Nashville the other night thumped Dallas Stars in Dallas 4-0. Now they're traveling to a Vancouver team that's struggling a little bit. And Vancouver, actually, if you look at the history between the two teams, really doesn't win that much on home ice against Nashville. So I certainly wouldn't blame anybody that jumps on Nashville at plus 140 or better here. This price may have fallen. These lines were from this morning before I started work. So I would say, if I had to go either direction in this game, I'd probably take the underdog, the Nashville Predators here, at plus money. Plus 140 seems to be a fair price for that. And like I said, I'm not on it as of yet, but if the price gets better, I certainly could see myself taking Nashville closer to puck drop. Final game on the card, 21-22, LA at San Jose. The Kings the other night go into Phoenix. They lose 5-2. We had puck line both ways in the Phoenix-Los Angeles game, and frankly, I'm going to do that in this game. Even though the Sharks do not get many more than 1 goal covers as of late, they certainly are a team that can put the puck in the net. Kings now, 9 of their last 10 games have been by 2 goals or more, whether they've won or lost. So they either win in convincing fashion or lose in convincing fashion. And so I'm going to ride that streak here, take the puck line both ways, relatively short price, San Jose minus 115, come back on the Kings at minus 105. So we're going to get a nice puck line on both these teams. Probably a little bit north of 5-2 on each one of them. Makes it a prime candidate for that puck line minus 1.5 both ways, and so that's what we're going to do there. I'm going to try to do a video tomorrow for the Friday card, and try to do some videos this weekend to keep up with the daily reports as promised. And with that, bring it to a close. So No Joke NHL at Twitter, No Joke NHL on YouTube. Tell all your friends, thanks for the support here. Unbelievable. Take like a month off and put a video up, and I get like 240 views, actually 270 views, excuse me. And so I appreciate all that, views from all over the world. I have fans in Venezuela, all kinds of stuff. Kind of blows my mind a little bit. So I appreciate all the support, and I'll keep doing this. So until then, let's make some money. All right, everybody.